perhaps one of the favorite antagonists that Geralt has ever faced off against. In fact, when you hear people that love the Witcher universe talk about characters they hope to see in Netflix The Witcher TV series, you've probably heard them say Renfri. So who is she and why is she so popular? Warning, if you haven't read the lesser evil flashback story in The Last Wish, this video will ruin Renfri's backstory for you, but I'm not going to spoil that short story for you, just her backstory, which really doesn't, I guess, ruin that story. Please watch if you don't care about her backstory being spoiled, though. Also, you may say, Roars, how is this disturbing, darker content for your special October Halloween videos? Well, I consider Renfri a very dangerous, disturbed woman, so there you go. Also, how dare you question me? I could do the lore of Teletubbies on this channel if I wanted to for Halloween. Although in fairness, those fuckers are pretty terrifying. So Renfri was born with blonde hair and blue-green eyes to Fredefolk, the Prince of Creighton, which is a small principality in the north, and his wife, who isn't named, but, you know, women aren't that important. As a princess, she had everything she wanted. Servants at her beck and call, jewels, trinkets, ponies, goldfish in a pond, very important, dresses, shoes, dolls, and huge dollhouses to play with them in, and most importantly, cambric knickers. Renfri's father one day married a woman named Aradia, who he had children with outside of wedlock after his first wife died. Now, we don't know how his first wife died, but given what he may have done to his second wife, maybe there was a little bit of murder going on. Just a little bit. Aradia was considered a wise and educated woman and had many family members talented in the magical arts. Through her family, she inherited a powerful and rare artifact. One of the Nihalian's mirrors that can predict the future. Yeah, it's a magic mirror. You know where I'm going with this, aren't you? Aradia would use the mirror to ask about the fate of her country, and one day the mirror predicted that Renfri, her precious stepdaughter, would lead to the horrible death of her and a great number of others. Aradia made sure the news reached the Council of Wizards, who then sent a wizard named Stregobor to investigate if Renfri was cursed. Cursed by what you say? Why, the Curse of the Black Sun, which was a prophecy made up by a wizard. Well, he claims that he discovered it through a lot of research, but there's debate on that. But anyways, the prophecy said that noble girls born during a certain eclipse or after it would be cursed and contaminated, and that there would be 60 girls, and they would lead the way for the demon Lilith to end humanity. Now, likely Aradia wanted her children to inherit the throne, and because they were born out of wedlock and had no rights, she seized upon the prophecy of the Curse of the Black Sun to get rid of Renfri, who had the misfortune of being born just after the Black Sun. Because Renfri's father didn't really seem to care about her being born after the eclipse and loved her all the same. So again, you see where we're going with this. Magic mirror, evil stepmother. Shit's about to go down. So the wizard Stregobor came to the castle at first to observe Renfri directly and discreetly. In that time, he claimed she tortured 2 puppies and a canary and gouged out a servant's eye with the handle of a comb. Which, you could say, maybe she was cursed by the Black Sun and she did truly have a demon inside her and this was a monster in little girl's clothing. But on the other hand, who hasn't gouged out someone's eye with the handle of a brush? Wizards are so fucking judgmental. Next, Stregobor tested the girl with a few curses, and most of them confirmed the little princess was in fact a mutant. Stregobor finally decided the girl was affected by the Curse of the Black Sun, and went to Aradia instead of Renfri's father due to knowing how much the man loved his daughter, and that the news would just break his heart. Also probably because Stregobor knew that if he told Renfri's dad, hey, I'm here investigating your little girl is a mutant, he'd probably just kill the wizard. So, you know. However, Stregobor went to Aradia and said, hey, I don't want to kill Renfri. I want to isolate her in a tower and keep her there so she can't do any harm and she can't help end humanity. But Aradia was like, no, I have no patience for this. I want this little bitch dead. And guess what she did? She sent a royal huntsman into the forest after Renfri to kill her and take back her heart and liver. to Aradia. Now here's where the story differs depending on whether you get Stregabor's side of the story or Renfri's side of the story. Renfri says that the huntsman actually took pity on her, took her into the woods, robbed her, raped her, and then let her go and she escaped. If you ask Stregobor, well, Renfri seduced the huntsman, and when his pants was down, she shoved her brooch through his ear into his brain and fucking killed him. Personally, if I were to take a guess, I would say the queen made it look like Renfri had killed the man to make the wizard pursue her harder, because I think the queen actually told Stregobor what happened since Stregobor didn't want to kill her, he just wanted to isolate her. So to convince the people that Renfri was truly cursed and more monster than human, she told that lie and Stregobor ate it up. After all, he saw her torturing some animals. Or maybe the queen in anger shoved a brooch through the brain of the huntsman because he failed to do as she asked. The queen obviously isn't above killing to get what she wants, or because she's upset. Although I would imagine since Aradia's husband loved Renfri so much, his daughter, that the queen would have had the huntsman killed either way, so it didn't leak back to him, hey, this is the shit I'm doing, because she was doing it behind her husband's back. Aradia and Stregobor organized a manhunt, but all traces of Renfri was gone. Stregobor, fearing that Frederfolk was suspecting he had something to do with Renfri being gone, left Crider in a hurry. After Renfri escaped the huntsman, she claims that was the end of the princess. Her dress soon grew torn, her cambric knickers grubby, and then from there was hunger, stench, stink, abuse, and dirt. Her hair, once silk and a foot below her hips, had to be cut right to the scalp with sheep shears when she caught lice. After that, it never grew back properly, which is why as an adult her hair is uneven. She eventually had to sell herself to any old bum so she could eat or have a place to stay. As she struggled to survive, she also had to avoid the assassins, poisons, and spells her stepmother and Stregobor sent after her, though mostly from her stepmother. Renfri killed to avoid being killed. She stole rather than starve to death. When she was caught doing things by local law enforcement, she would sit in prison smelling of urine, never knowing if the next day she would be hanged or just flogged and let go. 4 years later, in Mahaikim, Renfri did find help in the form of 7 gnomes who she considered better to her than most people. She convinced the gnomes that instead of working in the mines and getting your lungs full of these dusts, and it's just so bad for your health, we should rob merchants. So that's what they started to do. They started to rob merchants on the roads. And because Renfri preferred to kill her enemies through impalement, she began to be known as Shrike. And thankfully, Renfri had her gnome friends because at one point when she was in this area, Aradia and Stregobor tried to poison her with an apple that was seasoned with nightshade. But luckily, one of her gnomes gave her a cure that made her puke so hard, she thought she'd turn her insides out. Renfri survived being hunted like a wild animal, in her own words, until she became skilled enough to become the hunter. She became so skilled with the sword, none could defy her. Soon the assassins that came after her never returned. Her stepmother died in her own bed, supposedly poisoned by her husband, who found a younger, more robust mistress, before Renfri could get to her and enact a special plan. Some believe it was Renfri herself, even though she herself denies she got to do it. Soon afterwards, Frederfolk died in a strange hunting accident, and Aradia's eldest son disappeared without a word or trace. While Renfri was 17 at the time, and certainly skilled enough to kill them, there is no proof it was her. This unfortunately only left Stregobor for Renfri to get revenge on, and unlucky for Stregobor, he actually went into the area where her and her gnomes were. Actually, by the time the wizard got into that area, the gnomes had all killed each other in a homicidal fight over something. Some think loot, other who gets Renfri and to fuck her. We don't really know why they killed each other, but they did. They just stabby-deathed each other. So shortly after the gnomes got into an argument and all killed each other, Stregobor ended up in the area, and Renfri instantly recognized him as the wizard that ruined her entire life, and she came flying at him with her sword. Stregobor was so scared he was shaking, and he barely got a spell off to encase her in a slab of crystal. He then threw her in the mines and made it all come down on her. But this is where pesky princes come in. A prince from some out-of-the-way kingdom in the east found her, spent a shit ton of money on a counter curse, and reversed the spell and took her home. However, the prince's father was not happy with the son's actions at all and just beat the shit out of the boy. He then stretched Renfri out naked on an executioner bench to torture out of her where she and her gnomes hid the treasures they took in Mahaikim. The king's mistake was having his eldest son join in. The man clearly found Renfri attractive, and soon the king and all his children but the eldest son were dead. Renfri then became the first favorite mistress. Until there was a coup in the palace. Renfri now had power, and because her stepmother was dead, the one that wanted her gone in the first place, she was no longer an outlaw. Instead, she was a good noble lady simply trying to take care of a rogue wizard. With her new power and authority, she could finally seek revenge on Stregobor. She tried assassinating him multiple times, and every time he fled, she found him. While we aren't sure how she always found him, the wizard always covered his traces well. It is believed her mutations may have helped her. As the years went on, it appeared she became resistant to magic. Of course, she could have acquired artifacts to become resistant to spells and find him, but we aren't given any proof of that. Stregobor managed to live in Blaviken for a year before she found him. This time, she brought her own gang to the town to take care of the wizard. Which is when the short story The Lesser Evil and the book The Last Wish takes place, so I'm not going to ruin how that story ends for you. I would warn you, people are probably going to ruin it in the comment section, so I wouldn't go down there if you don't want to be ruined, and hopefully Netflix will actually have this story completely done in the Netflix TV series. They cast someone to play Renfri, so I'm wondering if they're just going to show what happens in The Lesser Evil, or if they're also going to show her backstory, which I would absolutely love. And if they do have her in the show, I really hope they show the gray to Renfri. Something Renfri struggles with is knowing if she was truly contaminated in her mother's womb and evil, or if she was made this way. So that is the life of Renfri up until the book The Last Wish. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and come back for more special October videos. Woo, so spooky. So scary.